Now let's look at how we can use piping to start to analyze a dataset in more advanced ways. First of all, we need to make sure that we have library tidyverse installed. And generally, you should always load the library tidyverse after you've loaded all the other libraries. So let's go and do that. It's thinking about it, it's installing it, which is fine. And we've got our dataset there, which is already loaded. So what is piping? Well, pipes are a little bit like this. What we have is we've got this strange command, this percentage arrow percentage, and it takes a dataset and it pipes that into a function, which then pipes the result of that into another function, which pipes the result of that into another function, and then at the end of the pipe it'll output whatever it's found out. So how does this work? Well, let's look at an example. So if I've got my PISA 2018 dataset and I go and just run that line, you can see it's a huge set of data with, as we know, 612,000 different items of data. So if I go and make the pipe, what I can do is I can go and select, well, what do I want to go and select? I want to go and select the country. I want to go and select the OECD. I want to go and select PV1 math. And I think, and one other thing, which is the gender of a student, which is a rather strangely named ST004D01T. So as we know, if I select the first thing on its own, whole data set, it then pipes that into the next command, which is a select statement. And it only returns the 4 columns that I've asked for, which is quite nice. So from that next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I only get OECD countries. So I don't want countries which are not inside the OECD. So I'm going to use a filter command, and we're going to say OECD equals yes. Okay. So it takes the result of that, which is, again, 612,000 results with 4 columns, and it filters out all the ones that are not OECD. So it only finds those which are OECD equals yes. And it returns, now we've got 294,000 results, roughly. So we then go and pipe that again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group by the OECD, sorry, the country, CNT, and I'm going to group by the rather strange gender command, and I'm going to start to summarize this. And actually, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm just going to paste this across. And if I go and paste this in here, I've got some summary statistics here. So I've got the mean value, standard deviation, and the number of rows in each group. So I go and run the whole of that, select everything again, and it returns 65 rows. So I've started to collect the whole set of data, I filtered it, and now I've summarized it to give summary results per country and per gender. And as you can see, Australia, female maths grade 940, male maths grade actually slightly higher. Austria, female maths grade also below the male maths grades, and so on. So you can start to play around with this. You can see Canada here has got NA values. So there were 2 students that didn't respond to the gender question there. So what I can do again, I can filter there. I can have another filter, and I'm going to say this weird thing I don't want is.na. Okay, so that's only going to find the Canadian students, unfortunately. I'm going to reverse that, so I've put an exclamation mark. We're going to cover all of this in more detail very soon, and that should give me my results without the Canadian NA gender result. So that's a very quick introduction to piping, and one of the things you can use this on any sort of command in R, if you think about it as taking a result, pushing it into another function, pushing that result into another function, pushing that result into another function, and so on. Earlier, you saw this command. We're finding out the length of unique countries, so it tells you how many countries are there. You could rewrite this as, so we'll take PISA CNT, we pipe the whole of that result into unique, okay, and then we pipe the whole of that into length. And that should give us the same results. We know this should be about 80. Yep, it's 80. And this here is the same command, but without all those annoying brackets inside brackets. And that also gives us 80. So piping, hugely powerful way of breaking down your problems into a way that's easier to understand. Thank you.